let's start it off. Let's do the housekeeping things. This Post 90 podcast.
Yeah, I would just like to start.
If you're listening, you're champion.
Yeah, I would like to start by saying that this is by far going to be our longest episode ever. If you thought we had a problem waffling in the past, you've yet to see what is about to happen. So we're gonna like leave some timestamps down on the timeline there, so you guys can hop around and get to the important conversations,
whichever you find important.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of them based on the notes that we prepared for this one. But let's get like some very important housekeeping out of the way before we dive into what we plan to do is just like analysis of this entire week. The game itself, the post game, the pre-game, and all that, but we have some important stuff we want to get out of the way before people start hopping around to those timestamps. So the first thing obviously is, follow us on Twitter. That is always the plug at Post90Pod. We like even uploaded this Twitter Moments thing. I just found out about it today and I was like, hey, let's make one of those. And it's kind of cool. You can just like select tweets to put into like a group that just like lasts forever on your profile. So it was sort of cool to put a bunch of tweets in there. That's kind of a snapshot of what our TL looked like, the night that NYCFC made history. And then we could talk a little bit about our off-season plans so that everybody's aware. We want to do a ton of collab episodes with, people all over the community. Michael Allen, who is the alumni of this show at this point. This would be number 3 or 4 if he comes back on the show. And then we want to get a lot of new guys, like Juan Carlos we mentioned. It's also his first season covering the club. Christian, who's always been an OG. Maybe some outfield guys like Tactics we brought on before. Bring him back finally. So, yeah, we have a lot of plans.
A lot of plans. And some people we've talked to before, like, obviously Michael Allen and Tactics, they've seen, us at our most
our progression
unprofessional, just piecing together a way to get an interview, and up until this point where we've got this studio. I think our first conversation with Michael Allen, the only thing in this
I think we're just gonna like stare at each other and smile for a couple minutes or something. like
when we first talked to Michael Allen, all that we had in the studio was this table. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's it.
I
don't even think we had 3 camera angles. I think it was just a one-man show. Yeah. It's been a lot of growth, for us and for the club. And
obviously, I hope these guys want to come on.
Yeah, me too. I would assume. I think everybody wants to, and we've messaged back and forth with some people on Twitter pretty publicly too. So I think, we're at least going to get 3 or 4 episodes out of that, which is good because obviously off-season can always be slow. And then the last thing is that we're looking to really kill the coverage of that MLS Reserves League. I've just been calling it NYCFC 2 because I guess that's pretty much what it is. I'm not sure to what capacity fans and anybody really is going to be able to view games or keep up to date with what's going on with them. So we kind of want to try to do the best that we can to make sure that if people want to find out things about that team, that we would be a great place to do that.
Right.
So,
not only that, but in the case that not knock on wood, but in the case that a first team player goes down and we need to maybe pull somebody from a team. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah.
But that there's going to be some background on that player, so it's not just like, oh, let's hope this dude with a heart shaved into his head does well today.
Yeah, and keep an eye on the vet that went down. That this is a good opportunity where you can send somebody down, which you see in a lot of European clubs. Like you see somebody get sent to a U22 to rehab if things go wrong and they have to get back up to speed.
Or mentally.
Or just start scoring goals against the 18-year-olds when you're 27, so you can feel good again.
And it would be cool too. Obviously I'm not sure how possible it would be. And this is the first time we're hearing of it, so congratulations. Here you go. But some of the guys that may be leaving our club, specifically like Thor, I think it would be important for him to get like an exit type of interview.
Yeah.
Which is super popular to do in Europe, typically by the club. But I'm not sure with everything going on with the club. I don't know if that will happen.
Yeah, I would assume it would be easier. Just like my first thoughts on it, because we don't have to jump through like NYCFC's PR team. Not that that's a nightmare or hard to do. We just haven't done it before.
It's easier to just send Thor a DM and be like, hey, we appreciate everything you did.
It's definitely been more so about us being nervous about getting a player on here than the NYCFC media team not being able to make it happen. Like, they would do it.
Because I do want to. I want to get Thor's thoughts on, like, when Ibiaga left and stuff like that. Because obviously they were probably some of the two closest if they were riding together and stuff like that. Just his idea of him leaving, and then his idea of himself leaving. Yeah,
and then even somebody like Tony Rocha, who we have long been supporters of Tony Rocha on this pod.
Two people that we have nicknames for, that doesn't happen.
That's the only two.
That doesn't happen often, and so definitely want to try to maybe give those guys some exit interviews. Yeah, just to say their piece and say their goodbye. Yeah, more than just like a basic Instagram post.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And maybe we can just get right into this MLS Cup week. I came out of my room multiple times just to tell you that I was freaking out. Yeah, before kickoff. I almost felt like it's hard to like look back on it because I have such a different feeling of it now than I did before kickoff because like the nerves were so crazy. But I really feel like it started on even like Thursday night. If you're on Twitter, you start seeing fans like already flying out to Portland. Right. And then Friday, pretty much everybody that was going was posting themselves on the planes.
On the planes or there.
In the terminals of JFK, I think it was, or Newark, literally chanting, "Come on, you boys in blue," like in the gate, at the airport gate.
Just pictures of just blue in all of the airplanes.
Yeah, and holding up scarves and stuff. And then, we ultimately arrived to Saturday morning after somehow falling asleep on what was basically Christmas Eve on Friday night.
Do you remember how you felt when you woke up? I felt like just crawling out of my skin. I just wanted it to kick off, but even, just the idea of being closer to kickoff was terrifying to me. Yeah. I was trying to do anything. I was like, I got to go buy bread.
And it was the worst because I had to wake up early. Like, I wanted to sleep if, in best case scenario till 3 p.m. But unfortunately, I was up at 8. So I had, 6 hours of waiting. And then, even more posts start rolling in on Twitter of everybody that's actually in Portland. And it starts becoming more real and real, as not real as it seems as you're, waiting for this moment. And I think, everybody from the fans to the coaches to Ian and like David Lee today and Brad Sims talking about the fans that traveled there. These people are like incredible, not only to spend, the price to go there, but the sheer number of people that did it. I heard Sean say that they were told there were over 2,000 NYCFC fans there is like, that's insane, dude. That's a 6-hour flight.
That's the reason we're road dogs. Yeah. Genuinely. And
that's hundreds of dollars. That's 6 hours.
People always say, like, we have the best fans, but, like, do you show out like that? Yeah. To help your team do it on a cold, rainy day in Portland?
Yeah. I know. We never tweeted that little, like, thing, but NYCFC can do it on a cold, rainy day in Portland. And I'm not sure many teams can. Portland can't even do it in Portland.
We'll get into it.
And then, finally, the lineup drops. And it was essentially just business as usual. The only change that was out of the ordinary was that Ronnie decided to give Thor the start over Malt. I think it paid off, right? I would say.
I'd say it paid off, but I was nervous because I was like, why change it now? Yeah. Like, if you were the guy preaching, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why did you fix it? Yeah. Because it wasn't broke.
And I'm just thinking of this for the first time, like hindsight 2020, how much weirder does that make to not extend his contract?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? No. I just thought of that now.
But also, it just the whole thing. All of the guys that left, it was kind of weird. Like, why give them minutes in the most important parts and then not re-sign them? Yeah. Doesn't make much sense. Thor, Rocha, and Medina. Medina started every single game in the playoffs. Yeah. Izzy, ultimately, I don't know if his future was decided before today, but he got time. It was just it was just weird to see all those guys all of a sudden, like Izzy all of a sudden in the playoffs. It was almost like, okay, there'd been talks about this. You know, what we'll talk about later.
And we just got right into the first half, and I think it was easy. The team made it easy to calm everybody's nerves, I think, very early. We definitely were controlling the game for the start of it. You know, I remember you like continually coming out of your room being very nervous, and I think I just said every time I am nervous, but I am extremely confident at the same time. And that's something that we repeated many times last episode, where, you know, Ronnie has created a level of confidence for us that we don't have to be too concerned beyond like the regular game day nerves.
I mean, I'd say once kickoff started and we got, you know, 5-10 minutes in, I was like, okay, it's ball. Yeah. We're playing ball. And because we looked business as usual.
Mm-hmm. And the only thing that had me concerned early was the ref, which we're gonna get into, you know, what everybody has on their minds related to this ref. But early, there were a lot of like hard tackles coming against us, and us making some as well. But they originally were coming against us, and he was not making any calls.
Right.
And it was 10 or 15 minutes like that where we hadn't really gotten Chippy back, so he didn't have a chance to show that like he was just gonna let the boys be boys out there. So that was a little tense at the start.
Yeah, we just saw our players getting chopped.
Yeah, a lot.
With no cards, no warning, no anything.
Yeah, and they started, like I said, getting Chippy back, and he allowed it to go that way for a long time. Right. I would say through the entire first half and most of the second.
Do you remember he didn't call? I mean, I'd have to relook at I haven't looked at it since, but the double penalty in their box.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he just didn't.
Tayvon, and then Maxi gets chopped, too.
Tayvon, I was like, okay, like 50-50.
Yeah,
but
Maxi,
I was like, that's a pen, and no one talked about it.
The announcers weren't talking about it.
No one even mentioned it. It was almost like, all right, shut up about that. We're not talking about that. Shut up.
That home field advantage hits.
It hit very well for them.
And then ultimately in the 41st minute.
Oh, God, those scumbags. I just read the notes. I forgot about that.
Coming off of a set piece, which is just the absolute story of this team this year. You know, Maxi plays a perfect ball, and Taty, our golden boy, heads it in. Steve Clark kind of bobbles it. I mean,
that dude's a bum.
It's a game he could have. I mean, it's a goal he could have saved.
That dude is a.
But yeah, that's a bad look.
He's probably the worst keeper that we faced in this playoffs, and we faced that Union kid.
Yeah, and we faced Matt Turner, and he's awful.
Rest in piss.
So Taty heads that ball past Clark, and then he runs down the what's it called, a byline, and he shushes the Portland crowd, basically stirring up the scumbag that decided to throw a full
scumbags.
Yeah, there was two of them. Basically stirring up, and I'm not giving Taty any blame. I'm just saying this man probably did it because of that.
Yeah.
With an incredible accuracy, just pings a full beer can off Medina's head.
Do you think, we don't re-sign Medina because we think he has brain damage?
Concussion protocol?
Like, we're not here for his potential decisions after being hit with a can.
Yeah. It's
possible.
I would just like to report for anybody that doesn't know at this point that man is banned for life from what I would assume is his favorite team's stadium. So
good.
Congratulations.
You played yourself.
Portland, you did one good thing on the night. Thank you.
Props to Portland because they identified him, kicked him out, banned him for life.
Before halftime.
And that was at 41.
Yeah.
And so... amazing job.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Sensational. But I mean, Medina did play it up. Like, he got hit in the hand, not the head at all.
Oh, and I never touched his head?
He blocked it fully.
Oh, okay.
But still, you don't do that. Like, you don't throw... Like, he could have very easily hurt him severely.
Yeah.
So, you're a scumbag.
Yeah, and I think to not give that, that guy too much shine, I think the important the most important part of that is that it came right before halftime because it gave Ronnie the chance to like instantly have a team-wide talk,
a positive one
about the situation, and it worked because for the entire second half, I think we did start at moments like in the 70th maybe to become like prisoners of the moment. Like I know at least as a fan,
we were absorbing a lot though.
Yeah,
it felt like a lot.
That's the thing though.
If I watched it back, it may not have been.
It felt like it though.
It felt like
every time Portland had possession, it was
yes.
like, okay, we lost, I guess.
Yeah.
Now.
I was really.
And the Chara brothers didn't help because they
Rapid.
might be the fastest men on the field because Thiago wasn't
in the league,
so,
maybe.
In the league, yeah.
Rapid.
But it, like you said, it felt like we were absorbing pressure and no longer really applying it, which was worrisome. And even as a fan,
we just weren't capitalizing.
Yeah, and even as fans, we were looking for the second goal, but the talk in the living room was like, please just hold this lead.
Yeah, I would have preferred a 1-0.
Why? Yeah, and unfortunately, we got robbed of that.
Yeah,
completely blindly robbed.
We should have had a 2-0 with Medina, that breakaway.
Absolutely.
There's a few chances where we're just like, the cup was right there for us to actually achieve with a goal there. And then ultimately, yeah, Chanot gets fouled. Clear as day. Any other stadium, any other game, any other ref that's blown dead, would it have been, unfortunate to win that way? Maybe.
Yeah.
Would we be feeling, pressure from Portland fans like, oh, we got screwed, whatever? Probably.
Definitely.
But, it felt better to go and win it afterwards, I'll be honest, because then we can be like,
Yeah. It wouldn't be like a fake asterisk from Portland fans.
Right. And so it felt good, but it was really, really awful in the moment because I was like, dude, that's the thing that decides games. And, like, Chanot was distraught.
Oh, he was...
I was like, dude, there's no way Chanot can play anymore.
Yeah. No,
he was that distraught. I was like, he's going to not have energy left.
And I'm shocked that he didn't get, a yellow at least for dissension because he was, flipping out.
Yeah.
Actually,
rightfully so.
Yeah, no,
it was
right.
The dude was over his back and elbowed him.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like... there was 2 fouls on the play. It is what it is. But yeah,
it adds to the story.
You collapsed.
I was just on the floor.
Just collapsed.
Yeah.
And I was really quiet.
Nobody really talked in that room of 4 people for 5 minutes.
No.
There weren't words really.
All I heard was, oh, no. And
at the same time, my dad who doesn't really watch soccer and stuff like that, but it is crazy how important it is for teams to do this because you get people that wouldn't typically watch to tune in, and that can help you out in the future.
Right.
But my parents even tuned in, without unbeknownst to us, and he texts me and he's like, "Yeah, I bet on NYCFC to win," and not to get too much into the degeneracy of betting in this household, but we have a rule where we don't bet on NYCFC.
Yeah.
Period.
It's one of the things we don't do.
We don't do that. Period. And when he texted me that after Portland scored the 93rd and 56 seconds goal of a 4-minute stoppage time, I was like, oh.
That's why.
He's why we're going to lose.
Yep.
That's great.
We're not have an uncle
Thanks,
anymore.
Dad.
Hey, we're not going to have an uncle anymore.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
And so that was our mindset rolling into this extra time.
Yeah.
Jokes aside, though, we still believed.
I believed that we were going to go and win. I just didn't know how Chanot was going to compose himself.
It was a tough extra time to watch because Portland turned it up.
Yeah.
We had chances too, but it was like what we talked about in the second half, where every time Portland got chances, it felt like it was over. That was amplified 100 times in extra time.
Not only that, but they specifically made attacking substitutions.
Yep.
So I think they had 3 defenders on.
Although we did too.
Yeah. I think they had 3 defenders on, and so I was like, that gave me hope too, because I was like, oh, well, they went all out attack. They went for that. They got it, but now they have no way to defend. But then they, ended up finding a way, making subs, whatever. So that was short-lived. But it was just, the whole time, it just felt like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like anything was really going to happen. And I was like, oh, here we go again. Here we go to Pens again.
And, I mean, Sean, who obviously, made a staple on the game in the penalties, even before the penalties, in open play, right before the game was blown dead, he made an incredible save to keep us in it. Insane. Diving fingertips, crazy. I mean, the ball traveled through bodies, and this is a man and a captain, and a goalkeeper that has just, in the playoffs, played out of his skin. Like I don't know. I don't have words for what Sean has done.
Like this playoff Sean.
Saying this is choking me up, dude. Like
playoff Sean.
Ugh.
Playoff Sean and like the first 6 week Sean, entirely different humans.
Yeah, completely different. And that's, I don't know.
We said some things this year,
on the show.
But I'll be honest. Weeks ago, we said, "Hey, Sean's back. We have nothing bad to say."
It's been like 2.5, 3 months of this Sean, and he has enabled us, as well as many people have, or many players on this team have, to even be close to where we are right now.
Right.
Like if we didn't, I mean, it's so obvious. If we didn't have Sean, we're probably first, if not second round, guaranteed.
Oh yeah, maybe not even playoffs.
Yeah.
Because he led the team from the back. He proved why he is the captain. He proved why.
And what a captain Sean has really become. Because even, aside from his skill that we were taking notice of, or his lack thereof, at least at the beginning of the season, when it seemed like every week somebody decided that they were going to pull up and score a worldie on him.
Put him on a poster.
It also had us not questioning his captaincy, but questioning if the club should have moved so quickly into filling it.
Right.
Which, I mean, because, there was definitely arguments, back then about Maxi with his seniority, and then that would, I think probably the unknowing of his future with his contract.
Alfredo even, we were saying.
Alfredo, we were saying, who, I mean, if Alfredo was playing like he did these playoffs and this last month and a half back then it would have been an absolute no-brainer. Like, I would have been personally calling for him. But, he wasn't quite there. But, at the end of the day, it really worked out for Sean. And, his character and his personality was never anything that we, questioned. It was just, if the skill wasn't there and you're in a position where you're potentially costing the team as the captain, then it has a
ripple effect,
an additional effect on the team than if you weren't the captain. But
that brings up an important.
He's a hell of a player.
An important point. Tongue tie. That I was thinking about today on my way to work, which is just the fact that if we do talk about a player on here in a negative light, it's not because we dislike the player or the person
or Ronnie,
or the club or anything. We are here 100% as a voice of the fans, about
and a voice of our brains, what we see,
our opinions, because us talking about Sean early wasn't like, oh, like we hate Sean, like we hate him as a person, he's a bad dude. It was just the performances weren't there. And if some universe he could hear that and kick it into gear, that's what we wanted. It wasn't like, we were trying to be the Arsenal fan TV talking bad about our team, like in hopes that, we get clout off of it or whatever. Like, it was entirely just, we want this dude to play well because he's super important.
Yeah, and he is.
Yeah.
So we roll into these penalties, and you start thinking about the Revs penalties, which, we have good feelings about that because we were there and we watched them win. But you do get concerned now about the analysis of what Portland has in terms of film on us.
Right.
because it becomes an instant mental game and an instant mental edge. And then the coins flipped and we have to go first. And thankfully, we have our golden boy to step up first, and he just
I don't know if all the film in the world could have helped that keeper.
No.
He's dumpster.
Steven, yeah.
He is dumpster. No team should have him.
And Taty buries it. Next up, we have the guy that scored the 94th to equalize for Portland, Mora. And shout out to Brian. We watched the game with a very good friend of ours and somebody that has gone to most of the home openers with us for NYCFC.
He went to the first ever match.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah.
And he goes, Sean's gonna save the first 2 penalties. Now I don't know what type of divine intervention this man had in his brain to know that. And damn, I wish we could bet on NYCFC, because if we did, we would be wealthy men if we listened to Brian.
If that's even something you can bet on.
Yeah, I don't think so. Live betting penalty shootouts. Something we have to look into. But Sean goes on and saves Mora's pen. Then it gets a little dramatic because Alfredo steps up. And Stephen Clark.
First one, we made Taty.
Yeah, Taty made it. Sean saved it. And then Alfredo gets saved.
I was like,
yeah.
Dude, because we didn't miss any of them in revs. And I was like,
yeah.
Can we survive 2?
Yep. And then, so it's instantly like our morale. That stadium gets it back. You hear it erupt. And then Sean steps up big again and saves the second penalty.
Then Maxi actually scored.
Yeah, and then Maxi scores. And then I believe Tales comes in and scores. And then it, once again comes down to
Alex Callens,
the man with the coldest ice in his veins that I have ever seen in any sport ever. And he, by the way, if anybody didn't notice, he kicked the identical penalty to what he kicked in the revs, except I think he hit it like twice as hard.
Yeah.
Because that was ridiculous.
I had an invasive thought.
What?
I had a really bad invasive thought, actually, before Penn started, that Callens was going to do the same thing, just blast it, but whatever, just miss it, just blast it over the top. I flashed in my brain. I was like, nah, get that out of there.
Yeah. And he didn't.
He delivered the second happiest moment of our lives so far.
What's the first?
Him making the first one.
Wouldn't this be happier than the last?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like the second.
The second and the first.
Correct. Yes. Both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think any. Oh, I'm sure there's like an NYCFC fan there that was in on Callens as early as I was in on Julian Edelman, and that's a story for another day.
Right.
But I don't think any NYCFC fan, most of them out there expected Callens to become the legitimate skill-backed leader and star that he became.
Yeah.
Like
which is scary because he's not going to be here long. He's not going to be here long. So get your jerseys.
Yeah, I am getting a Callens jersey.
Yeah, he is
guaranteed.
He is insane. I also saw, that I didn't even remember. He has our second most goals in the CONCACAF Championship Champions League.
Yeah,
which is just, I saw that graphic today and I was like, oh, he's been doing this.
He sort of he sort of during the season quietly goes about his business, bossing that back line for us, and at times knocking goals in, and now it's just been amplified because of these 2 penalty kicks. But this is not, performance wise, something that Callens is new to.
Right.
He has been this savage for a long time.
He's a guy,
and he's a vet on our team, and that makes it feel so much better.
He's been there for a long time.
I think this is 4 years.
There's been,
if not 5.
Like the key parts of our team have been there for years. 4 years.
And, that pen goes in, and Ronnie starts bawling his eyes out. We start jumping around the living room, screaming. And the scenes at the thing of, them just lifting the trophy all together and enjoying that moment.
It felt surreal. It just didn't feel... I just was like, the pen going in, we win, jumping around. I mean, I stripped down to my
Yeah,
boxers.
you and Ronnie both got out of your clothes.
I just needed to express myself.
And I have to apologize on behalf of the community because they convincingly voted that Ronnie did it better than you. It was convincing. Like,
The thing with that,
I don't think you got 20%.
and I'm not gonna go at our own fans, but I just felt like that was more of a clout contest and not like who actually did it better.
A popularity contest.
Yeah, that was a popularity contest, and I was just looking for a fair shake.
Didn't get it
for the effort. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't have the crowd. I didn't have the team behind me.
The trophy.
I didn't have Tayvon laughing at me.
Didn't do push-ups.
Tayvon didn't laugh at me one time. That deserves a vote.
Yeah. And you lost, and it is what it is.
It is. I mean, I'll go again next year.
Yeah.
I'll go again
I hope
next year.
so. I believe Ronnie did say he is going to continue doing that as long as we continue to win trophies. So that's great news. And our wallets took a hit as we quickly traveled to the NYCFC store to avoid missing out on
the champion merch.
Champion merch. We would be draped in it right now if they didn't delay our order till January 7th.
Somehow.
Yeah. It's weird when you use
we did this
the
pre-booze.
coupon code.
We spent that much pre-booze.
Yeah.
We did that sober.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't even imagine if we had...
Were we really sober or were we high on life?
That is
So lame.
so bad. Oh my God, you deserve a timeout for that. That is...
And then, as you just alluded to, we went to Dave and Buster's. We took a couple of NYCFC shots. Spent time with some people that we have brought into this NYCFC world. Related to the fandom and traveling with us to playoff games that they've come to with us and regular season games throughout all this time.
Made new soccer fans.
Yeah, it was a great night, and that's what's important. And something that you don't think of when a team wins a cup is how important it is for the brand and the sport in general. With my parents watching the games, unasked and all of our friends, getting into it. It's very redeeming to see that happen.
Right.
Because we care so much about them.
But also, the idea of bringing them in and not really knowing at the beginning what we're going to experience and then going on this path and, them getting invested is just cool.
Yeah.
And I think that Dave and Buster's trip was just kind of like the final, that was the peak. That was, just going out, having fun, not having stress about anything at all, just thinking, our team just did something insane.
Yeah. And maybe even in hindsight, like a little bit of celebration for like the work that we've put into this podcast too. I didn't think about that on the night and I just did now, but we've put in a lot of work to this thing and it's
a lot of time.
It's been great to share this season with anybody that listens and watches because it's, this is something that, not us and not anybody we hung out with that night and not anybody that's listening or watching this will ever forget. I mean, this is the first one in club history. So it's
even
literally history.
Not to be that guy and to throw out numbers or anything like that, but I'm sure there were people even in our circle when we were like, hey, we're gonna do this podcast thing and put time into it, effort into it, or certain nights where your night is shaped by I have work and then I have to do have to go record and then you got to edit it and stuff like that. I mean, all that time, all that effort for it to then translate to like 30,000 impressions in a night, like that's insane.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of just that peak. And
getting to share, it does feel like we are literally champions. Like it feels like, I would say, we weren't on the field as many times.
I told him I was ready.
Yeah, as many times as Justin has said on this podcast that he was willing and ready to step up to be right back when Tinnerholm went down or striker when Taty wasn't knocking in the goals for those 2-ish months. We weren't on the field, but it does feel like, and I'm sure many fans feel this way, and that's why sports are so great that we were a part of this winning season. So that's an amazing thing to get. period to get.
And it was, you know, it was just important to do it. Just all this stuff, you know, getting on here and talking, just sharing our opinion, you know, whatever little that helps the club to grow. You know, even if it's at 14 people at a time or 2 people at a time.
Yep.
That maybe didn't consume NYCFC content and didn't really love the team, that then, you know, do.
Yeah, do
it's
now.
just insane to be able to contribute to that.
Yeah.
And like have the success side by side and not take from the club but try to contribute.
Yeah.
That's just what we want to do here.
It's a great way to put it. And I think that's probably it. I mean, related to the game itself and winning the trophy itself, I think we've about covered it. I don't know do we want to get into any of these roster moves? We could. Why not? I feel like a 45-minute episode is it. I will say I think one of the last things to mention that also makes this win special is we just got a qualification to the CONCACAF Champions League. And that was one of the few things that I was concerned about, because that wasn't guaranteed based on where we finished in the league, which is upsetting because it's always great, especially when, you know, your club builds the depth that it takes to participate in those if you don't get to participate.
Right.
And I, you know, from the moment that we found out that our regular season spot did not get us into it, I like completely removed it from my memory. And then like the day after, in the morning, the CONCACAF, you know, Twitter tweets about us being in. I was like, oh, that's like the perfect cherry on top, is we get to see more of this team next year because of that.
Right.
But yeah,
Which is always good. I mean, it gives us more content too, to cover, to look forward to.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like I said, you could just hop right into it if you want to list the names.
Yeah. So with these roster moves, I'll start off with the positives. So we don't have to say much about these guys because, you know, we're going to be talking about them for quite a while, I would assume. You know, Heber, Zelalem, and Acevedo all got extended. I think we probably both agree those are great moves. We want those 3 players on our roster.
I will say real quick, and it's not a dig at Heber, but it's very, very, very funny. He's like on the stage, he looks like the guy that didn't do any work on the project, but he's celebrating and running around telling everybody he got an A on his project.
Yeah.
Which is not a dig at Heber. He was injured. He didn't really have the opportunity.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny visually.
Yeah.
How much, like, he's got the camera,
the
GoPro
with the at the ceremony today. Yeah.
And I'm like, how many appearances did you have?
Yeah.
Do you have more appearances than men on the team? Right.
No, I would agree. Out of those 3, that would, you know, I don't want to suggest that we shouldn't bring Heber back. You know, he obviously got a bad rap, very unlucky with that injury.
That's Taty insurance.
Yeah.
That's what that is. It's Taty insurance.
And then, you know, these we might end up spending a little more time than we want to on these, but in terms of contracts that, you know, got declined to get renewed, we have Medina, Thor, and the Tony Rocha.
Yeah. As the King Medina supporter, from the guy that was calling everybody a bozo because they didn't like him.
Yeah.
He fell off quick, and you know, I'm not sure if that led to the decision to decline him. I mean, I would assume that there's somebody out there that's willing to spend money on him, so that's why, you know, that's why I would have personally kept him. I'm not sure if we can still make money off him. Probably not if he doesn't have a contract. I don't know. I just feel like there's somebody out there that would spend money on him.
Yeah.
I don't think the club wanted to take the chance to still have him, which is their choice.
I think the feeling around the fans and the supporters that I've gotten, at least from Twitter and what goes on in my own brain, is we've all complained a lot about Medina. So we shouldn't be upset with this. But the cup complicates things. Right. Because cue the Fast and Furious, you don't turn your back on family.
Well, like anything in life, once you get a ring, it gets a little more complicated.
Yeah.
To separate.
And that's true. So, you know, Rob Abramowitz, I believe he's the Spanish commentator for us on radio for NYCFC. And I guess he spoke with Medina's agent, and Medina says that he doesn't want to stay in the MLS and that he's trying to field offers in Europe and South America. So obviously we wish him the absolute best.
Go make the boys in blue proud.
And go make some money too.
Yeah,
like
make
we want to see you
cut your hair, man.
do it.
Cut your hair.
Dang, we were gonna post that clip on Twitter, but then you had to dig them.
No, I miss OG Medina.
Yeah, and then we have I think the most shocking of the three is to see Thor get declined.
I would say the Roach.
You think?
To me, I mean, but we'll get to it.
Yeah. So with Thor, I mean, I think it was the most shocking because our initial thoughts were, oh, they're just doing this so that they could find a different way to keep him on the team in terms of restructuring his guaranteed playing time and money. Like, that seems like the only...
Right.
It doesn't seem like he could possibly leave at all in any way.
Right. Well, I think, possibly we looked at the depth at left back and just said, we can't guarantee you the time that you want.
That's fair.
I would assume that's what it is. It's probably playing time because he loves the club. He loves the city.
Yeah.
That's without a doubt. But look, the dude needs to play.
Yeah.
And if that's somewhere else, it's somewhere else. I just wish, it would be here.
Yeah.
But we're gonna see a lot of more Gloucester next year.
And then Tony Rocha declined too.
You said it best. It felt like Ebiaga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When we shipped Seb off to LAFC, I don't know what to say. It's not like, I don't even want to say like that's one of those decisions or moves that you have to make. Like, it doesn't feel like we really have to.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you extend Acevedo and you extend Zelalem. That's just, there's spots.
And you have Keaton and you have Sands.
And you have two left backs
that
you're already.
Alfredo.
Right. So there's not, I mean, I get it. You probably can't guarantee him time either. I would like Roach on the team. Yeah,
I mean, if that is the basis of it, that he is looking for a role where he's going to get more time and potentially a starting position, or at the very least fighting 1-for-1 for a starting position. If that is the reason that he's leaving, then I'd support that fully.
Yeah, and maybe even Charlotte someday. They were looking more for money than.
Yeah,
people.
I mean, I would echo exactly what we said about Medina, maybe even more so. I hope that the Roach gets signed somewhere and we can support him fully.
Right.
As long as it's not like the Red Bulls or the Revs.
Yeah.
And really Philly at this point, because their fans have just been insufferable on Twitter.
Yeah, they're just weirdos.
Yeah.
Call the FBI on them. We got to find actual crimes that the Philly fans have done and report them.
I do believe it's against protocol to go and party after you haven't even won the whole thing yet and give your whole friends COVID and miss
I do think
Eastern
it is
Conference Finals.
I don't know
if that's FBI worthy, but
I do think it's worth noting that if you go and party and contract COVID, which is a very
serious
infectious disease,
yeah,
and then you bring it to your team and then you hurt your team, you cannot then blame another team for that.
Right.
And you definitely can't say racist comments.
And basically what we're trying to say is that we hope Roach goes somewhere.
Not there.
Not Philadelphia, and has a great career.
And we hope Jim Curtin goes to
FC Cincinnati.
And his career dies.
And I would love for the Roach to go somewhere that has a super, super nice kit so I could purchase it.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we have to say. It's gutting to lose. I think probably all three of these guys. Some for different reasons than others.
Well, this last guy you were bummed to lose, but
yeah,
I mean,
so what time is it? I don't even have my watch, but a couple hours ago, Charlotte has the expansion draft, which is such a weird thing that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. And I don't want to knock it super hard, but the fact that you can just be like, oh, I want that player from your roster.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did that happen with us? We did that?
I guess.
That's
we didn't
weird.
Get somebody like an Izzy, though.
No, we got McNamara, I think.
Yeah, give me Izzy like 10 out of 10 times over McNamara.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
So Izzy goes to Charlotte, And then, I mean, why even take Izzy just to turn around and sell him immediately? Like
I would assume that there was talks between Charlotte and LAFC that LAFC didn't want to come to us to trade for Izzy because
it's possible for any number of reasons.
There had to have been a predetermined thing because it was so instant. Like things like that don't happen that quick.
Yeah.
So LAFC must have been interested in Izzy, approached Charlotte and said, "Hey, you have this spot. We'll give you this much money if you pick him."
Yeah.
And then, boom.
And then as our a correspondent at the outfield said, Justin Egan, he goes, Charlotte just paid us $50K to also free up $600,000 in GAM of cap space for us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible business.
Just great business.
Hey, FO.
Just killing it.
Hell of a move.
I thought Sim was going to announce a stadium.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did.
They
kept chanting it.
I know, but he kept saying, I'll get to it. Hold on, I can't do it. I can't say it all right now. So when were you going to say it?
Yeah.
And then he goes, we're close.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
And my last comment about this this expansion draft will be, I don't know how anybody in the community is going to take this, but I was sort of hoping that Charlotte would have taken Tinnerholm. Not that I think he's...
I didn't know that we were going to put that on camera.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, I mean, you're hyping it up like...
No, it's not.
Tinnerholm.
It's not because we hate Tinnerholm.
Yeah.
I just think... I mean, go ahead and explain it.
I would say, I was hoping they would take him for a number of reasons. I don't think he's past it. I still think he's a good player, and that would have been great value for Charlotte to get him for... I don't know if the fee for everybody is $50K, but that is ridiculous for a man that was the best defender in the league last year. But I would be so upset to see Tayvon ride the bench for 90% of the games next year. Like, that would kill me.
Or, I mean, especially if, Tinnerholm isn't back and he's not Tinnerholm again. Mm-hmm. Because then it creates drama. Like, it gives the pundits something to talk about. Is NYCFC going to start Tinnerholm? Or are they going to start Gray? Yeah. Are they going to stump the progression of Tayvon Gray to, play an aging star who's past it with an injury? Like,
but the kid who looks so bright. Like, yeah. he started every minute of every playoff game that we had on a cup run.
Yeah.
And looked good.
Yeah.
Looked
That's
great.
Why, I mean, that's why it gets difficult with Tinnerholm. Does Tinnerholm become the number 2? Because
I don't think.
Tayvon deserves to be the 1.
That's what I'm saying.
Tinnerholm doesn't deserve to be the 2, but Tayvon deserves to be the 1.
And on top of all this, it gave, NYCFC an easy out on him without having to look like the bad guys because, hey, there's nothing that we can do about it.
This is MLS. This
is MLS. T's and P's. Enjoy South Carolina.
Pick him up, put him down in Carolina.
We don't hate him. We just...
No, we love Tinnerholm.
It would have been convenient.
He's great.
I have a T-shirt.
He's great.
Courtesy of the outfield that says Anton Tinnerholm is good at soccer. It's right there.
But, we were saying that we do believe that it would have been better to get him off of the roster now.
Mm-hmm. Just in case. I mean, even if he does go and become an There's
all-star,
no risk to losing him with how Tayvon has looked.
Right. And so, but there isn't depth at right back. That is where we do lack depth.
Sure.
But it's not fair to make him a number 2. Yeah. Still. It just isn't fair to make Tinnerholm a number 2.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to make Tayvon anything but the number 1.
It's like I don't know how many people will even understand what this means, but it's like Mac Jones and Cam Newton. It's like if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. And if you have 2 starting right backs, you have no right backs.
Writing backs.
Yeah.
That means we've gone too far.
The absolute last thing, and certainly not the least important. This is, I think, probably going to be probably the most season-changing topic for 2022 is everything related to Taty. We're hearing, that Besiktas put in an offer for $12 million, and NYCFC said, come back with a bigger number.
Yeah.
And I guess...
With respect.
And then Palmeiras didn't get the memo because they came in with an $8 million offer, and they tried to get him earlier in the season. I think a lot of NYCFC fans remember, all the Palmeiras fans and how they were... insufferable and basically treating Taty like he was theirs and not ours. You were wrong. So they came in with that $8 million, and we said, come back with a bigger number.
Yeah, we renewed his contract, and we immediately said that just means the price has gone up.
Yeah, the price has gone up.
And the prices continue to go up from there.
The entire time.
Look, you said that there was nothing. I mean, you did say it best on the way home from Dave & Buster's, that there's nothing left for Taty to do, really, in the MLS. He's got the cup. He's got the golden boot. But also, I think, it's possible that he wants to run it back just to maybe see if he can go back-to-back titles.
Yeah. I mean,
he didn't get the MVP of the league.
He didn't get the MVP, and he has a second shot at the CONCACAF Champions League. But both those things are incredibly hard to get. So I think, potentially stunting your own, big money move for yourself and your family.
Right. Also just loving New York.
For two things that are pretty unlikely, I could understand if he goes. And I think Pep did him like the biggest solid that anybody could ever do. And yes, I am a major Pep fan, but when I say that, when Pep speaks, people around the world, including managers, listen to him. That is entirely true. And for him to say that Taty belongs in Europe, honestly, I think there's probably teams that heard Pep say that, and now Taty is on their radar, and like they're considering buying him.
I feel like Taty
because of that
shouldn't
only.
do anything but go to City. I think that'd be a great place for him.
But he won't start.
It doesn't matter. Even just to get into,
a system.
the Stefan role.
Yeah.
Where you're there, cup game, stuff like that. I think he could definitely play at that level.
Imagine him learning from like Gabby and I mean, maybe if he wants to focus a little bit more on the winger route.
You all don't really have strikers like that.
Yeah.
You have Gabby, and then you guys flex wingers to play that role. You don't have a striker like that.
I mean, as much as I love
new Aguero.
Taty, like Gabby is.
I know, but just Taty can score.
But Taty's 23, right? 22.
FA Cups, like he can do that. He's at that level. I don't think he should waste his career at places like West Ham. Like
I would agree, yeah. And I like you said, because I think even if he goes to West Ham, he's going to be in the same role that he would be at Man City. Right. Except instead of being within, the CFG system,
still
that is, knows him at least business-wise. And, I mean, I don't want to speak crazy, but I would assume that their academy and their systems and their training departments and all this stuff, when you have money like that, it is better simply because of a club or instead of a club like West Ham. And you would prefer to be behind the Mahreses and the Sterlings.
Right, learn from those guys.
Instead of like Arnautovic and stuff like that. Not that, they're full of slouches. I don't know where that
dude plays anymore.
He might not be on West Ham.
He plays in like China or Japan or something.
I mean, NYCFC is totally taken over my soccer universe. And I've fallen off the Europe train.
I believe that it should be, a top team or stay home.
And what I have heard, I mean, not that it's a rumor that there's any truth to it, but I would think if like Maxi wants to come back and do one more ride, I would think Taty would want to too.
I think you should.
I hope.
You're going to get more eyeballs in the MLS as the returning Golden Boot winner, returning MLS champion.
But I would hate for something to happen and for him to miss an opportunity.
I don't think his opportunity is going to be there regardless of next season.
Not if he
because he's
regresses,
But if he regresses at
what if Heber is back?
But the thing is, like, if let's say he goes to a Man City and he does regress, they just pop him right.
Oh,
back
I mean, if
if
he stays here and regresses, then I would hate for him to then have to go into like the transfer market, half of the value as he has right now, and miss out on potentially genuinely changing his life.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we both want the best for Taty. I think anybody that's an NYCFC fan is just infatuated with Taty as a human.
The world is his right now.
Yeah.
And so
that's about it.
That'll do it. That'll be our Megalodon.
I don't think we've talked this long since like our beginning episodes. We used to think that like at 45 to an hour was a way to go, and then we realized nobody wants to listen to us dummies talk for that long. So we cut it down, but this was a this was a little bit of a longer one. And if somehow anybody is still here, listening and watching, then you are truly the GOAT. And we look forward to sharing more with you. I don't know if we want to have this convo on air, but I was debating with the idea of like when we're going to next record again. And I was thinking probably after the new year, I think. Taking like a little...
Just a hiatus.
Yeah, a little 15. I mean, it would only be, 15 to 17 days. Taking a little hiatus to enjoy the holidays like we kind of did with Thanksgiving.
Enjoy the win, too.
Yeah, we're still going to be on Twitter, daily, literally multiple times.
Responding to people, responding to news.
News, all that. But yeah, just giving ourselves a little bit of an off season before we start up like... these 10 collab episodes, hopping into a whole new league with the MLS
The dogs
reserves.
will be in your front yard, and we will be going hard.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that would be the announcement right there. We will see you guys in the flesh after the new year. Happy holidays to all of you. Happy New Year to you guys. I hope you guys, also enjoy your time with your family if you can, and spend some time really soaking in this win, because it's not guaranteed that this will ever happen again.
Yeah. And if it doesn't for a couple of years, I mean, we can still enjoy this, and we'll still be right there with that team.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys in 2022.
Thank you guys.
Peace.